What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I'll be talking about 10 drivers who could potentially join Project 91 in 2025. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. About 2 weeks ago, Just Some Marks revealed that it sounds like Project 91 may be coming back in the not-so-distant future. And there has been speculation that there's a potential possibility that Project 91 could make a potential comeback in 2025. Now, obviously, Trackhouse Racing is expanding to 3 full-time cars for the 2025 season, with Shane Van Gisbergen taking the 3rd full-time seat. Now, Shane Van Gisbergen was the last driver to compete for Project 91 in 2 select races in 2023, where he won the Chicago Street Course and then went on to finish in the top 10 at Indianapolis during the Verizon 200 at the Brickyard. Now, like I said, there is a very good chance that Project 91 could make a comeback in some sort of capacity in 2025. So today, I'm going to talk about 10 drivers who could be potential candidates to join Project 91 in 2025. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. The first driver that I could see joining Project 91 in 2025 is Pato O'Ward. Now, Pato O'Ward is one of the most successful drivers in IndyCar currently at the moment, and currently is the most popular driver in IndyCar. But one race that I think you have to circle for Pato O'Ward is the Mexico City race. Pato O'Ward has been very interested in running the Mexico City NASCAR Cup Series event and wants to go down there and compete. Now, obviously, McLaren has an interest with Hendrick Motorsports as well, but what if they can't get a deal with Hendrick Motorsports done in a potential car like Spire Motorsports? Well, I think Project 91 could be a really strong option for Pato O'Ward. The 91 car is a car that's supposed to provide an opportunity for superstars to get behind the wheel, and Pato O'Ward is truly a superstar. And he's also got a really good chance eventually down the road go to Formula One if he has a lot of success. I think Pato O'Ward would be a really good candidate to join Project 91. I think he could have a ton of success with this car. Trackhouse always has a very strong road course program, and it's going to get a lot stronger with Shane Van Gisbergen being over there full-time in 2025. I think you got to watch out for Pato O'Ward being a strong possibility. I think there's a great chance that he may be part of the Project 91 campaign, potentially as early as 2025. The second driver who could drive the Project 91 car potentially in 2025 is Connor Zilisch. Now, Connor Zilisch is under contract with Trackhouse Racing. He's been a development driver for the organization and team, and will be running full-time with Junior Motorsports in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2025 in the number 88 car. But many people do believe in the industry that Connor Zilisch has the potential to be already ready at this point to make some select NASCAR Cup Series starts, and people are already wanting him, like myself, to make his NASCAR Cup Series debut in 2024. And obviously, with him going, of course, run the Rolex 24 in the number 91 car, why not give him a chance and opportunity to get some Cup Series experience? Connor Zilisch is one of the best young raw prospects we've seen in a long time, probably since Joey Logano or Kyle Larson or Kyle Busch. But I think that Connor Zilisch has a lot of potential to be one of the most successful drivers in NASCAR Cup Series history. I think giving him a chance and opportunity to drive the Project 91 car down the road would absolutely make a ton of sense. He's got a lot of talent. He still can do it. He's only 18 years old, and I think he's going to be one of the favorites to win the Xfinity title this upcoming year. But I do think that Connor Zilisch should absolutely be considered as a potential candidate. He's being considered for Cadillac at this point in Formula One, so why not give him a chance and opportunity to drive the Project 91 car? I think he'd be very competitive. I think he have a very good chance and opportunity to go out there and compete for winning that car. I could see him winning in his debut, honestly, of how good of a driver he is. I think Connor Zilisch should be considered for the Project 91 car, maybe in the not-so-distant future. The third driver who could drive the Project 91 car in 2025 is Scott McLaughlin. Now, Scott McLaughlin, of course, a 3-time Supercar champion, won nearly 80 races, or 58 or 59 races in Supercars, 3-time champion, has been competing full-time in IndyCar, where I believe has 7 or 8 career IndyCar victories, including winning the Indy 500 pole in 2024. Now, the big reason I could see him getting a chance and opportunity to drive Project 91 is he'll be driving for Trackhouse Racing in the Rolex 24 in the number 91 TF Sport Corvette, one of the strongest organizations there. And with him working with Shane Van Gisbergen and being really great friends at SVG off the racetrack, it would make a lot of sense for him to get a Cup Series start. And I remember a few years ago when there was a lot of talk that he could either go to IndyCar or go to NASCAR route. There was some talk about him going full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series back in 2019 or 2020. He chose the route, of course, to go full-time IndyCar, and he's had a lot of success there. But many people like myself have wanted him to make a NASCAR Cup start. He's been super interested in doing it. Why not give him a chance and opportunity to prove it? So I think that Scott McLaughlin is one to definitely watch out for being a possibility, considering the fact now he's working with Trackhouse Racing in the Rolex 24. I think it'd be really cool to see him get the chance and opportunity, and I think he should be considered because of how great a talent he is, how fantastic of a driver he is. I think he will be considered potentially, if they bring the Project 91 car back, to be a candidate for that seat in 2025. The fourth driver who could drive the Project 91 car in 2025 is Daniel Ricciardo. Now, Daniel Ricciardo, of course, had a lot of success in Formula One, but does not have a contract for Formula One for 2025. And the side reports in recent days about him maybe going to Formula One in 2026 with Cadillac, those reports have been denied, and Daniel Ricciardo confirmed those reports in the last couple of hours. Now, Daniel Ricciardo has expressed interest in coming over and racing in NASCAR, and Daniel Ricciardo is a pretty massive NASCAR fan. He's a big fan of Dale Jr., and of course got to drive the number 3 legendary Wrangler car that Dale Sr. had back in 1984. That was restored a couple years ago. I think he drove a Dakota back in 2019 or 2020. Daniel Ricciardo wants to race in NASCAR. Has looked at opportunities to race. There was some talk about him a couple years ago, I think, driving for Junior Motorsports. I think it'd be cool to see Ricciardo come and race a Project 91 car. I also think that Daniel Ricciardo is good friends with some of the drivers in the Trackhouse camp, and is also good friends. I think he's talked to Justin Marks in the past. So why not give him a chance and opportunity? I think it'd certainly be competitive. Yes, it might take him some time to get up to speed, but Daniel Ricciardo's talent that he does still have, I think he is a talented driver who just was past his prime in Formula One, and he's about the same age as Shane Van Gisbergen is. Why not give him a chance and opportunity to see what he can do in a Project 91 car, in 2025? I'd watch for him to be a potential candidate for the seat down the road. The fifth driver I could see driving a Project 91 car is Ben Keating. Now, Ben Keating, like Scott McLaughlin, is going to be racing in the Project 90, well, not the Project 91, but the Trackhouse number 91 TF Sport car in the Rolex 24. Ben Keating, for those who do not know, is one of the most underrated and one of the most legendary drivers in sports car history. The guy has won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in the GT class, which was a year or so ago. He's also won the Rolex 24 in the lower class as well. And the crazy thing about Ben Keating, he's 53 years old, and he's doing this at such an older age. Very rarely you see a driver in their mid-50s having a ton of success to this day. And Ben Keating is accomplishing it in his mid-50s. He is one of the most successful drivers in sports car racing today. He has a ton of talent, knows how to get it done behind the wheel, and I certainly would love to see him get the chance and opportunity to drive the Project 91 car down the road. He's a fantastic talent, a really good race car driver, and I think seeing him drive a Project 91 car in a race or so, like maybe Coda, like somewhere else, like Mexico City, if Pato O'Ward can't get picked up, why not give him a chance and opportunity? Especially since IMSA is a sister series of NASCAR, I could see them working out a way for Ben Keating to compete at IMSA one time and then go race in NASCAR. It'd be pretty cool to see it happen. I watch him being a candidate for the Project 91 car down the road. The sixth driver I could see driving a Project 91 car in the future is Josef Newgarden. Now, Josef Newgarden has done some NASCAR stuff in the past. I believe back in 2018 or 2019, he drove the 22 Team Penske car, I think a few years ago at the Charlotte Roval. And Josef Newgarden, about a year or so ago after winning the Indy 500, was having a media day with many NASCAR reporters, and he actually expressed interest in wanting to do the double, run the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day. And I think that Trackhouse bringing Josef Newgarden in would make a lot of sense. Josef Newgarden is one of the best American drivers. I know he's one of the most hated drivers currently in IndyCar at the moment, but you cannot deny that Josef Newgarden is an absolute incredible talent. One of the best IndyCar drivers we have seen in the last 10 to 15 years. And I truly think that Josef Newgarden, who has expressed interest, wants to come over and do some NASCAR stuff. Obviously, he had to clear things at Penske, like Scott McLaughlin would have to clear things to get an opportunity at this. But I think that giving Josef Newgarden an opportunity to drive the Project 91 car will be pretty epic and really amazing and badass at the same time. See what he can do in NASCAR, compete for a really great team in NASCAR. I'd love to see this happen. I really hope that Penske clears an opportunity for him to do this. I truly think that Josef Newgarden is someone that I truly would love to see get an opportunity, a chance to drive the Project 91 car, maybe in the not-so-distant future. Maybe they do get it clear for him to run the Project 91 car down the road. The 7th driver I'd love to see drive the Project 91 car is Helio Castroneves. Now, Helio Castroneves has expressed interest in wanting to maybe run the Daytona 500. He said that about a year or so ago after winning the SRX race at 5 Flags. And I remember about a year or so ago, he was negotiating with multiple teams and organizations to run the Daytona 500. And one of those teams was Trackhouse Racing. Now, he was looking to drive for a team like the Money Team as well. He was probably going to drive for the Money Team in the Daytona 500, but that contract unfortunately got broken because it wasn't a good team. And unlike the Money Team, Trackhouse is a great team. The problem is, at the time, Justin Marks was not running the Project 91 car in the Daytona 500. But even though Helio Castroneves is almost 50 years old at this point, I still think he can do it. He was pretty competitive in the Indy 500 in 2024, and he's been competitive for the last couple years in the Indy 500. Yes, he's starting to get to the end of his racing career, but why not give him a chance and opportunity to race in NASCAR? He's expressed interest over the last couple years. He's had a late career resurgence in motorsports. Why not give him a chance and opportunity? It'd be pretty epic for it to happen. I think Trackhouse should absolutely look at doing it for sure. I look for Helio to get a chance and opportunity down the road if Justin Marks ever wants to give him that chance and opportunity with the Project 91 team and organization down the road. The 8th driver that I could see driving the Project 91 car again is Kimi Raikkonen. Now, Kimi Raikkonen has driven the Project 91 car multiple times. He drove it at Watkins Glen in 2022, where actually was very, very competitive in that event and was running inside the top 10 before getting taken out by his teammate Ross Chastain. And then he got an opportunity in 2023 at Circuit Americas and hasn't shown up since then. But we know that Justin Marks would probably love to bring Kimi Raikkonen back. Now, Kimi Raikkonen, of course, a couple years ago had a commitment with Formula One. I don't know what his plans are currently at the moment for motorsports for 2025, but I think it'd be really cool to see him come back and maybe make a couple starts in the Project 91 car. To me, I think making a one-off with the team would make a lot of sense. He did really good with the team a couple years ago, showed a lot of promise last year as well in the Project 91 entry. I'd watch for Kimi Raikkonen to be one guy that could be a candidate for this seat, maybe down the road in the not-so-distant future, for maybe getting into the Project 91 car, maybe in 2025 or potentially in 2026 as well with the team and the organization. The 9th driver that I could see driving the Project 91 car is Juan Montoya. Now, Juan Montoya made his first NASCAR Cup Series start in nearly a decade in 2024 in the number 50 car for 2311 Racing. Actually ran inside a top 10 in quite a bit of the event. Yes, it was because of strategy, and it was very difficult to pass at Watkins Glen. But Juan Montoya had some very strong and really impressive laps throughout practice. While the finish was not that good for Juan Montoya, I know Juan Montoya was considering maybe making a comeback and making a one-off or two-off start. Now, going into 2025, Juan Montoya will be turning 50 years old, and he hasn't ran full-time in NASCAR in over a decade. So, obviously, I don't see Juan Montoya ever coming back and doing a full stint. I just don't think that is going to happen. But I think Juan Montoya coming back and doing a one-off would absolutely make a ton of sense for me. I think him getting a chance and opportunity to drive the Project 91 car, a car that's brought a lot of legendary superstars into it, why not give him a chance and opportunity? I think it'd be cool for this to happen. I think Juan Montoya should absolutely be considered to get an opportunity with Project 91 once again. I'd love for him to get that chance because Juan Montoya deserves an opportunity to drive the number 91 car, maybe in the not-so-distant future with that same organization once again. And the 10th final driver that I could see driving the Project 91 car is Carl Edwards. Now, Carl Edwards is probably a long shot at this point because Carl Edwards, of course, would have to basically find a way to come back in and would have to be extremely committed. Now, Carl Edwards does have an opportunity from 2311. Denny Hamlin did state that a few months ago that if 2311 Racing ever wanted to get him back on the wheel, he would take that offer, but he wants to see horsepower increase for it to happen. But I think many of us, like me, would just want him to close out a chapter in his career by doing a one-off start. Carl Edwards deserves a one-off opportunity, and whether it is with 2311 or basically a team like Trackhouse, it'd be really cool for him to come back and close out a chapter in his career, and then we don't have to ask about Carl ever coming back. So I think many of us want to see Carl Edwards make a comeback and a return, and I think going to Project 91 would be very, very interesting because Carl is good friends with Justin Marks, and apparently Trackhouse consulted with Carl about the ride. So let's see what he could do, and maybe see Carl Edwards get an opportunity, a shot in the Project 91 car, maybe down the road in the not-so-distant future. So those are the 10 main drivers. So let's talk about some honorable mentions as well. First one is Alex Palou. Alex Palou has expressed interest in the last couple months of racing in NASCAR at one point. I know he's fully committed with Chip Ganassi Racing, but it would make a lot of sense for him to get a chance, considering the fact that Chip Ganassi Racing and Trackhouse kind of have an affiliation in a way. I don't know what his full racing commitment schedule is outside of IndyCar for 2025, but I would consider him as a potential candidate down the road as well. Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon had interest years ago of racing in NASCAR. I think it'd be cool for him to do a one-off in the Cup Series before his racing career comes to a close. Scott is going to be in his mid-40s. I think he's going to be 43 or 44 in 2025, so he is getting a lot older. I would consider Scott Dixon being an outside candidate for sure. And the last one I'm going to mention is Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen, there's been talk about this. Obviously, when the rumors of Daniel Suarez and Max being really good buddies, there's people that talk about this. Here's the thing about Max Verstappen. As much as it would be cool to see him get behind the wheel of that car and then have Lewis Hamilton compete against him in the thing, here's the issue you're going to have. Basically, Ford. He's going to be switching to Ford in Formula 1, the Ford power plant, and Chevrolet and Ford don't really like working together. So I think while it'd be cool to see him drive the Project 91 car, I don't think it's going to happen because of the Ford stuff going on. I'd love to see it for sure, definitely, but I'm not quite sure we're going to see that end up happening. So, that is going to be it for the top 10 drivers who I could see drive the Project 91 car if it comes back in 2025. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's get some more of that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What drivers would you like to see drive the Project 91 car down the road? Let me know them in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to have NASCAR Xfinity Series winner predictions for 2025. Monday, we're going to have a NASCAR news video discussing news over the course of the last couple of days. And we've got some other content dropping throughout the week. Tuesday, I'm probably doing the Team Penske preview on the channel. And if there's any massive major news that breaks before the end of the year, we'll discuss it live on the channel. We're probably going to have updates on 2011 and Front Row. We'll talk to people like Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Bubba Wallace, all those people, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Ross Chastain, lawsuits, all that kind of stuff at Junior Motorsports 2 down the road in the future. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.